Well, it's a pleasure to have our friend Mark Meckler with us, who's breaking his backside here fighting for a convention of states. And his wife and in the convention of states group. And his father had quite a spill the other day. I won't get into it, but I'm just thrilled. We're just thrilled that he's doing much, much better. But in that, we'll move on here. So, Mark Meckler, how are you? And you have some news for us, and you need some help.
Yeah, I do. So, Mark, first of all, thanks for the well-wishing for my dad. He's doing much better. I appreciate that. So, look, in the last couple of weeks, it's been incredible for Convention of States. I know y'all already reported on this. I was on. We talked about we had a victory in Wisconsin. That was number 16. Subsequent to that, we passed the South Dakota House, and then we passed Nebraska, so we're at number 17. That's the halfway mark. But here's where we're at right now, and here's where we need help. So we're in the South Dakota Senate. You assume this is a very conservative state, but the committee voted it down. Now, our grassroots and a bunch of our champions like Senator Curd and Tobin and Wick and Bull and Stalzer, these guys did what they call a smoke-out maneuver. They got it forced out of committee, and it's going to the floor. It's going to hit the floor tomorrow. It takes 18 votes to make this the 18th state for Convention of States. And it's going to be tight. It shouldn't be. You would think it wouldn't be in a state like South Dakota. And by the way, the House blew it out. It was 60% vote. But we're struggling a little bit in the Senate. There's a bunch of fence sitters. And here's one of the things that I'd love you to comment on, Mark, because I'm really surprised by this. All over the country, everywhere I go, the Sierra Club, the ACLU, Common Cause, all of the radical Marxists are sending their paid lobbyists to try to defeat us. And of course, they're standing next to the John Birch Society, the 12 folks from that group. They use all the same talking points. So those are the groups that are opposed to us. And so right now we are on the precipice in South Dakota. We're about to go. It'll go to the floor tomorrow. And the real question is, which of the Republicans are going to stand with the Marxist Democrats and who's going to stand with the citizens and the Constitution? So I'd love your comment on, why would Republicans do this?
Remember who blocked it in the Senate in Arizona, Mark?
Oh, yeah. It was a Republican.
Who was it?
That was Andy Biggs.
Who is on Fox, who everywhere is viewed as a strong conservative, right?
That's correct. Now a congressman.
Because they don't comprehend what this is about. You and I used to oppose it. You actually have to study this. It's not about being knee-jerk. The same people who wrote the rest of the Constitution put that language in there for exactly this circumstance, where Congress is out of control, where the federal government's out of control, and they do not apparently understand the amendment process. It takes 34 states to effectively convene a convention of states. 34. Not a majority, a supermajority. It takes the same 38 states, that is, the legislatures by vote or by convention, 38, to amend the Constitution. That's not changed. 38 states, that's a big damn, that's 3/4 of the states. How are you going to have a runaway convention, apart from everything else, if 38 states have to ratify? Moreover, a runaway convention, I guess people aren't looking around at the court system or looking at Biden and the Congress. We have a runaway convention. It never stops running away. It never stops changing our constitutional system. And these Republicans in these state capitals, many of them, these Republican leaders are very comfortable with what's taking place. The McConnells and in a lot of the state capitals. They're perfectly fine with whining and complaining and telling you folks who vote for them, whining and complaining about the left, about Washington and everything. And when the rubber hits the road, they really don't want to change it, Mark. And I want to carry you over, if I may, because this is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Thanks, Mark.
If you folks who live in South Dakota, we need your help. Get on the phone, call your state senator, and tell them we are monitoring them. We are monitoring what's going on. This isn't some damn game. I'll be right back. Anyway, Mr. Producer, let us get on with Mark Meckler, Convention of States. So, Mark, whatever the reasons are, they're misplaced. And the Republican leadership always talks about how the Democrats don't do this and the Democrats don't do that. Why don't they let their people vote? And let their people vote. And why don't these people understand that what's at stake is our constitutional system, that they represent the ability to fix this? This is the only way to fix it, is it not?
It is the only way, Mark. And I'll tell you, one of the things that's so astounding to me, and this is going on in South Dakota right now, I just had a conversation with a senator who's kind of on the fence. And I always ask at the end this question, like, okay, if it's not this, then what is it? We all agree the system is crashing. The Marxists are in control. They're trying to pack the courts. They want to get rid of the Electoral College. They want to add states. So if it's not this, what is it? And I never get an answer. Because it's usually just generally, I don't know, but I'm scared of this. And that's my frustration. And one of the things that I ask these leaders to do, and it usually is a problem in leadership. It's not the rank and file. It's usually in the leadership. And what I ask them is to lead. The reason we have the country we have is because at some point leaders stood up and said, we're going to do this thing. And other people said, it's too risky, it's scary. And the leader said, we're going to do this thing. We're going to stand and we're going to fight. And that's what we need right now in South Dakota. We've got citizen leaders are doing that. I have great state leadership there. Shirley Meyer, you'd love her. She's over 80 years old and just absolutely cranking it. Harvey Fitzgerald and his wife. But we need leadership in the legislature in South Dakota right now. We need 18 votes. 18 votes makes this the 18th state for Convention of States.
Good Lord. I mean, it really makes you wonder how we got a constitution in the first place. Because they were really putting their necks out on the line. They didn't have a republic. They were taking really extraordinary steps to create this central government, this national government. Here we're just suggesting a few amendments to help fix what's going on, and you would think that we are the ones trying to turn this system inside out. This system's being turned inside out right now. And so rather than takes to the streets, rather than become Antifa or Black Lives Matter, all the rest of it, we are following the Constitution. I don't know why these guys and gals are so afraid. The Constitution empowers us. That's what this language is in the Constitution. This language was adopted by the same people who adopted all the rest of it. And so when you hear these state senators, in this case, in South Dakota, saying, I'm concerned about it, that means they're not textualists. That means they're not originalists. There's nothing to be afraid of. Milton Friedman said this was really the only way to fix things. Even Dwight Eisenhower looked at it and said this was probably the only way to fix things. Everett Dirksen, many of you older people like me, you know who he pointed to it. And as a matter of fact, James Madison pointed to it as a way to trying to avoid what would become the Civil War. So this is a very, very important lever that we have, and if we don't use it, we're going to lose it. Right, Mark?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's there. It's for us to use. It was put in there for a time such as this. You know, another thing I'd like to address, Mark, is I get people and senators and state legislators who question me, like, who are you? Are you some kind of secret leftist? I get accused of being funded by Soros. I know you and I have known each other for a long time. I remember the first night we sat down and had dinner together. Would you mind talking a little bit about, because you know the history of this organization and an independent kind of third-party view on that?
Well, the organization came to be around the time my book The Liberty Amendments came out. Mark and I hadn't coordinated. We hadn't planned. It's just that we studied this issue. And at the same time, we said, we need to push this. We didn't say it together. We never talked about it in any coordinated way, did we? No. No, we had no advanced discussion. We were both very surprised to find the other one involved in this issue. That's right. And that's how that started. But Mark Meckler is a solid conservative. He's co-founder of one of the biggest taxpayer groups in the country. And then he decided that he needed to focus on really a constitutional fix to what was going on in this country, and he started a convention of states. So any Republican lawmaker that accuses you of that, they're typically rhinos, or they don't know what else to say, or that sort of thing. But to me, this is the vote. So in South Dakota, Levinites, contact your members of the state Senate. And if they're on the fence or they don't vote the right way, then that's a reason to vote them out. That's a reason to vote no. You have a historic opportunity to create a majority now, effectively, right? To create more than we need.
Mark, right now, if you look at the number of states right now, it takes 34 to get to convention. We currently have 31 states with both houses controlled by Republicans. We just flipped half of the legislature in Virginia, so that'll take us to 32 in 2023. Minnesota is a split legislature right now. I think that house is going to flip. That'll take us to 33. We're on our way to 34 states. The runway is built to convention right now.
Mm-hmm. And it may be now or never, folks. That's my view. It's now or never, and if not now, then when? And keep up the good work. So, Mark Meckler, if people want to get involved in tomorrow's vote and get involved generally, where do they go?
Go to conventionofstates.com, click the petition, sign that. That'll automatically go to your state senator there in South Dakota or anywhere you are all over the country. We need you all over the country. And then click the Take Action tab and volunteer. And by the way, we got South Carolina coming up, North Carolina coming up, West Virginia coming up. There are a lot more states lining up to pass this right away. We're hoping tomorrow South Dakota becomes number 18. You can be involved at conventionofstates.com.
All right, my friend. Keep up the good work. Let us know tomorrow. Call in and tell us what happens.
Will do. Thanks, Mark. God bless you.
And God bless you and your family. You take care.
I'm here live in Philadelphia at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. When you hear the phrase lives, fortunes, and sacred honor, these are the folks we should think of, those who anonymously gave their lives. Well, today you have a chance to volunteer. You need to volunteer for conventionofstates.com, the movement that's going to save the country. These folks are willing to step up and give everything. We need you to give just a little bit. Go to conventionofstates.com and volunteer.